Evening, freaks. I'm here to give you a wild card weekly collective vibe check where each week we just dip into the energy and play that will be coming forward this week and seeing how it's going to play out for the collective. This is for all signs. We are shuffling for Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Ophiuchus, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And we're just going to get a little snapshot of what's in store for us this week, what's coming toward us, and how can we take best advantage of the opportunities on offer. I did get an initial download, and it's kind of tying into what we got coming in last week, which if you haven't checked out that video about the I'm Possible mission, I'm Possible download that came in, please do check it out. It was a specific exercise, if you will, a challenge that was issued to us by Spirit. I participated in it. I'd love to hear if others of you participated in it, and if you would like to have me do a live where we can bring forward and kind of process what our experience was with that, I'm totally open to doing that. So if you did participate and you would appreciate a live to process it as a community, then please drop me a comment and let me know, and I will be happy to accommodate that. It was a really powerful experience for me. It showed me a lot. It revealed a lot to me, and it was a sort of a purification to open up the road for us as we move towards aligning with our destiny with the changing of the nodes that comes in July. So we're kind of being prepped for it. And there is another piece that came in for this week for the collective and the work that we need to do around that. Remember, in that download I gave with the mission I'm Possible, part of the download was that we'll be given further instructions. And this week our challenge is to not complain. Not complain. And there's sort of this tangible exercise that wants to be done with this, okay? So what you're going to do is you are going to get 2 containers. They can be jars, they can be bowls, they can be whatever you like, all right? And one is going to be labeled in some way that says paid in full, or you will designate it as paid in full, and the other will be designated as debt, okay? And what you're going to do is every time that you complain, you are going to put any denomination of coin. It can be a penny, it can be a quarter, it can be a dime. If you want, you can even put dollar bills in there, okay? It's all up to you. There's no rules about the denomination of the money that has to be put in there, but it should be some type of actual tangible currency, okay? So every time you put that into the jar that's designated as debt, every time you complain. What's complaining? Complaining is anytime you have something disparaging to say about yourself, your life, or anybody else that you're encountering in life, even the world as a whole, okay? So stay with me on this, all right? Now, anytime that you instead do something, whether it is paying somebody a compliment or just giving something to another for the sake of doing that, or in some way adding to the beauty and the harmony in the world, I want you to take a coin, all right, any denomination or any amount of currency. You can use bills, dollar bills if you want, and you are going to put that in the paid in full container, okay? And you're going to do this all week. It's sort of like an exercise in meditation and motion. It's calling some mindfulness about the way you're showing up in the world, what your focus is, what you're putting your attention, your awareness on. And it's going to illuminate something for you, much as last week's exercise that was issued by Spirit will have illuminated something for you if you participated in that. And if you haven't participated in it yet, it's okay. You still have time. It's up there. It's timeless. You can work with this anytime you choose, anytime it feels aligned for you. But it is very beneficial for us as a sort of internal purification as we prepare to step into that changing of the nodes of destiny. It's very interesting because right now what is really coming through on the opening download for all of you is that we're at a time where right now we're starting to pay our karma, okay? Debts are being settled. Debts are being settled. And so you may be feeling like you're not sure how the scales are going to balance for you. Some of you may be wondering if you are on, the wrong side of that equation. You might be starting to question some of the ways that you've moved. You might be wondering if you're being held back because there's something you're not recognizing, some kind of karma that you need to clear. A lot of you are feeling in this place of really being burdened. You're carrying a lot and you've been working really hard to move forward in your life, and yet you're not seeing the results. And there's this piece of, the greatest opportunities and the most promising doors to step through are never arrived at until we first really have our faith tested. And there's a reason for this faith testing. It's to see, are you really invested in this? Like, will you pursue this and continue to pour your heart, your soul, your energy into this direction, even when it doesn't come easy? And that sort of helps you really align with your sense of value around this thing that you're pursuing, this thing that you desire. For a lot of you, it's something that you made a wish about a long time ago, okay? And you've really been pouring your heart and soul into it. And maybe you felt like you were guided by Spirit itself to go after this thing or try to heal this connection or come into harmony with this person or whatever it may be. For each of you, it's going to be different. But what's common between all of us, the common point, is that we're all feeling a certain sense of, did I get that right? It's like your faith is being challenged in your ideals. You might be questioning the way you've chosen to go about something. You may be wondering if there's a different approach you should use. And if you are considering that, you might be weighing this up. Well, if I go in this other direction, is that really being true to myself? And you may be tempted to just sort of get ahead faster, easier, have that instant result by compromising your internal values, compromising your integrity, and you're being asked to hold the course, okay? And I feel like for a lot of you, it's sort of like 50-50 with this. Some of you are just so frustrated from being in a holding pattern that you're starting to get a little desperate, but it's like, it's right before the moment when it's all going to come together. You'll see it's all about to come together. You're about to come into alignment with your manifestation. But it's interesting because I'm choosing to use this glow in the dark tarot for the read to open today. It's a wild card read, so we'll pull in other cards as I feel inspired. But as I went to make sure all the cards were upright in the deck and I was going through and preparing to shuffle them, I found this card from the holographic tarot that is like right in the center of the deck, and it's significant. It's the 10 of Wands, okay? So I also got this piece that your wish fulfillment is about to come in, that thing that you have really been pouring your heart and soul into. It's about to come into alignment. You're about to see it arrive on your doorstep. But the thing is that some of you feel very burdened by this. Some of you feel it coming, and you know that your wish fulfillment is somebody else's tower. And so you're still holding on to certain things that you're meant to release because you feel some sense of guilt about this. You feel a sense of guilt. 922, okay? You feel guilty about this ending because you feel like, I'm coming into alignment with everything that I desire. It's my happiness. It's the fruition of everything I've been working towards. And yet I know along the way that somebody else is going to miss out. This is very much a week about checks and balances. This is very much a week about understanding that not everybody can go forward with you, or not everything can come with you onto this next leg of the journey. It's about being burdened by this. It's about feeling a sense of guilt, and you're being asked to really look at what is that guilt stemming from. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's something for personal inquiry and exploration. And we're not going to talk about that in this read because it's really meant for you to do your own internal work around this and understand how that is speaking to you. But there's almost a sense of guilt around receiving what is meant for you. And almost a sense of taking too much responsibility for how other people feel about it, or feeling like in some way you owe them, so they don't feel left out, all of these themes. So there's something here to look at, because this card also, this deck, has been really worn, right? And this whole issue of you holding on to this, it's getting really worn, and you're getting worn out, and it's making you feel divided as well, okay? And when you're divided, you can't really be empowered and moving forward toward your destination. You're meant to step into that energy of the Fool. It's time to start brand new. And even if you are starting over with another, if you're hitting the reset button on a relationship, there's still this piece of you've been working hard and you've grown a lot, and you cannot compromise yourself and your growth just for the sake of sort of keeping the peace and just having that desire of having this reunion or this coming together. Even if it means you have to take a step back, you're being asked to follow through it at this time, no matter how burdened you feel. And this may be the time when you really start to feel upset or frustrated. You might feel overburdened, and because of this, you feel like you've been left behind, or you've been cheated out of something in some way, or that life's not fair. I mean, all of these themes are really front and center in the collective energy signature right now. But that's why you're being asked to pay attention to how many times you complain, because you need to understand that when you complain, you are not able to receive, and you are actually pushing your finish line farther in front of you, all right? There's also the piece here that we are in a very karmic balancing time, with the full results of that really being seen when we have the changing of the nodes of destiny in July, and Aries takes over the North Node, and Libra, the scales of justice that balances things out, that weighs our hearts against the feather, determines what our karmic lot is. So you're in this strange juxtaposition, collective. We're all in this together, where we are really doing our cleanup work. We're cleaning up the things that we've been holding on to for too long that have been blocking our forward progression. We are doing our chores. Cinderella didn't get to go to the ball until she first did her chores. That's what you're doing. You're doing your chores. You are balancing the scales, okay? So pay attention to this. It's going to make you feel very mindful of how you're showing up when you work with this exercise that Spirit's issuing this week with the paid in full and the debt jar. Okay, so think of this as your karmic lot. And the more you complain, you're actually accruing more karma for yourself, because something needs to be balanced with these scales here. Okay, and where the need is to make something equitable by paying for an action you took in the past, well, that will become evident. And some of you may not realize how much you are moving through your life ungrateful, because you're constantly complaining, or maybe moving through life with a sense of martyrdom, or like you're a victim and everything is somebody else's fault. You're always blaming something for your circumstances. And this exercise will really help illuminate for you what side of that equation you're on. Now, at the end of the week, you are going to look at these two containers you have, and however much money is in that debt jar, you're going to take that money and you're going to go out and you're going to buy something with it, okay? Something. It can even be something as simple as a card that you write an inspiring message in. Be creative. And you might even feel compelled after you go through this experience to maybe, add a little bit more to that debt jar just so you can really pay it forward, okay? Maybe get a little ahead of some karma for down the road for the next time you're human, you slip up and you make a mistake, okay? But you're going to take this money and you're going to go out and you're going to buy something inspiring, something that is some kind of gift. And then you are going to go out in the world, and just like with the flowers, you are going to gift this to a stranger. You are going to ask Spirit to guide you to the person who needs to receive this inspiration, this gift, and you are to tell this person, thank you for all the hard work that you have done. It has been recognized and your debt has been settled. Spirit's about to reward you. Okay? Now, if you notice that your jar is really full on the side that says paid in full, you're going to take this money and you're going to go out and treat yourself to something, because maybe you don't appreciate yourself enough. Maybe you're looking too much for outside sources of validation or appreciation or nurturing. And maybe one of the things that you need to learn is, instead of always focusing on nurturing, caring for, tending to others, you need to give that energy to yourself too. You know, an empty cup can't quench anyone's thirst. So this message coming forward very strongly this week as an opening download. Bottom of the deck energy, the world in reverse, okay? This means my whole deck is in reverse, okay? So we're going to turn this all upright. But see, there's something here. We don't have the correct view. A lot of times when we complain, we're also only looking at like our experience in a situation. We're not looking at things from a collective standpoint. And we're really being asked to think of the bigger picture and think of the currency of our actions and how they have a ripple effect. It affects more than just us. And the energy that we put out into the world, it affects more than just us, okay? It has a ripple effect. So this is about maybe getting out of your own head around some of your fixed points, right? It's asking us not to be so fixed. With the world card very strong front and center, we have the fixed signs, okay? We have Taurus, we have Leo, we have Aquarius, we have Scorpio, all right? So these signs front and center, where maybe it might be good to get out of the fixed energy a little bit, maybe become a little bit more open-minded, maybe a little bit more flexible in your view, being willing to see a different perspective, maybe look at your own situation in a different way. With the world coming up in reverse, it also means that there's something that we're supposed to be bringing to completion, and yet we are resisting it. And again, I feel that it's due to having this sense that, yes, I know I need to complete this, and I know I need to move forward. 1818 on the clock, okay? I mean, you don't get more strong of a message than that numerologically. 999, okay? All the way across the board, okay? 999. This really needs to be brought to an end. And it's okay, you know, endings are a part of life. And you don't need to feel guilty about that. And you'll know what that ending entails. 1844 on the clock. You have support. The angels are here to support you as you bring things to a close in your life. And some of the things that need to come to an end is a faulty perception you have, or some way that you keep looking at a situation, or you keep interacting with your life that is actually what's your undoing. The only thing in your way is yourself, because you refuse to let down what is starting to become really a burden, all right? If you're feeling stuck and if you feel like you're not getting forward momentum, there's a reason why. If you're feeling like you're in the dark, there's a reason why. You know, maybe that's why I chose the glow in the dark deck. You know, glowing in the dark, it reminds me of that star card energy. You can have these hopes, you can have these desires, and you can cling to that, right? You know, you may think you know what your wish come true is, and you might be so locked and fixed in your position, But there's something here you can't see, and we know that with the eclipse season cycle we're in that doesn't end until October 14th of this year. There's so much that we can't see right now. So sometimes faith is about trusting that even though things don't come together right now in the way that you think they should, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're being locked out, all right? It just means that maybe things are supposed to come together in a way that you can't see right now. And if you can just develop more trust, and if you can feel grateful and acknowledge the blessings that are in your life, all the different ways that you are being supported, all the different ways that you are fortunate, all the different people who really do have your back, okay? And really be mindful of those things and focus your attention on those things, then maybe you'll find that you're able to release the reins a little bit, and you can let spirit drive that chariot that's going to carry you forward, and you'll like where you end up, okay? So this is about stop resisting what's coming to an end in your life. Maybe you've even had certain people walk away from you. Maybe some of you have had people break up with you, you know, and you thought this was your person. Maybe you got fired from your job, all right? And I can understand all of these things can be very stressful, and these are just examples, but you may be dealing with some aspect of this, you know, but hindsight's 2020, and you need to remember that. What you can't see clearly now, you will down the road. It'll make sense down the road, and you'll say, "Ah, I get it. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that reversal happened, because it actually is what allowed me to take advantage of this new opportunity that came in for me." 21:44 on the clock. Help is on the way. You can't see it yet, but things are coming into alignment for you, all right? And some of you, yes, there is debt to be paid, all right? There's karmic debt to be paid. And none of us are immune to this, all right? We're all in this collectively. So there's no, no one sign to like beat up on and call the bad guy, all right? And I don't care what sign you are. Every sign, there's good apples and bad apples in the bunch. But at the end of the day, we're all one energy, okay? So we should really want to hold the intention that everybody is supported in what they need to grow, in what they need to heal, in what they need to evolve. All right, so let's stop looking at things from an us versus them perspective. It doesn't support the forward progression of the collective. All right, so we're really being asked to step into some higher ideals. And I feel that has everything to do with the dawning of the age of Aquarius and the energy we got coming in. All right, big opening download, but right now we're going to start shuffling. We're going to get some cards on the board. And again, we are looking at all signs. I'll go ahead and give a few more shuffles in there. We're looking at all signs here: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Ophiuchus, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. What's the vibe for us this week, Spirit? What's coming in for the collective this week? What's coming toward the collective this week? How will things evolve for the collective this week? I mean, looks pretty good. We got the 10 of Pentacles here. This is that arrival point. It's like, get in partnership with Spirit. You need to start building with Spirit, and then you'll really see your foundation being established, all right? This is about allowing yourself to go with the flow of where you're being pulled and where you're being directed. Stop banging your head against a wall trying to make something happen that's just obviously blocked. If you're finding yourself coming up against any kind of blockage, that's your cue. Open your mind. Think of things in a new way. And if you're complaining about being blocked, well, you know what to do. You need to put some money in that debt jar and start really thinking about your accountability and how things are playing out in your life, your role. Okay, so I feel like that's very front and center. And I just want to start out with just a little bit of gratitude as I get these cards on the board for the collective to say thank you so much to all of the subscribers, to all of you who comment, to all of you who have shared my videos, to all of you who bring your voice in and participate here. I really, really appreciate you. And if you are somebody who likes what I bring to the table, you dig what I'm laying down, I would so appreciate it. Subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. It helps get the messages out to a wider audience. It helps me crack the algorithm. And I feel like I'm really trying to infuse something positive for the collective in this algorithm, all right? I want to shift the algorithm from this place of division to one of unity. So help a sister out, okay? And with that, we have right here, you know, we have the moon energy comes up as a crossing influence with the Three of Pentacles. And again, this reminds me of that energy of this is the work to be done. You know, we may be trying to find our way out of this dark cycle. And we've all been through a really dark cycle, okay? We did the deep dive into that Pluto energy with the Scorpio South Node. And there's not a single one of us that hasn't been doing this work, right? It's been intense. And so it's important to remember that we are all in this together. Everybody's going through this stuff. And we are in an eclipse season. So again, it's just reiterating this message that there's a lot going on right now behind the scenes. And Spirit is really working on your behalf and lining things up in such a way that it's going to take you on to the next leg of your journey. And you may feel like you're kind of fumbling around in the dark right now, but your challenge at this point is to really keep centered on the light, you know, that destination that you want to head towards. And I'm really feeling this like great attractor energy, you know, that light force, you know, that calls you into creativity. And so where you are feeling like you're struggling a lot in terms of all of this like heavy shadow stuff that you're trying to integrate, you might want to tap into that through creativity, you know, get in touch with your creative energy and see if you can just work with the energy in a different way instead of complaining about what's happening or what you're experiencing or just going in that downward spiral of all the negativity of, you know, what you feel has been put on you or what you've generated yourself in your own perspective and how you're looking at life. How about instead allowing, you know, what you're feeling to be expressed through some kind of art, you know, through writing a song or writing some poetry or maybe doing some painting or dancing it out, and see if you can work with that energy in a new way to kind of bring some light out of that heaviness, bring some light out of the darkness. This is also telling you that you may be confused. You may not know the way forward right now. You may have, you know, your intuition really calling you forward in certain directions, and yet you can't really see the proof of where you're being led. It's almost like not trusting where you're being led, feeling like, what's the catch here? Okay, I did everything you asked of me, Spirit. What's the catch? Because I still feel like I'm wandering in the woods and I haven't popped out the other side yet. Okay, this is about doing the work for the sake of doing the work because it's what your Spirit's asking you to do, doing the work just purely on faith because it's what you feel compelled to do. It's about getting out of the head a little bit, getting more into the intuitive body, getting more into the instinctual body to find your way through. We've been talking about this for a bit. What card do we got here coming up with this? Again, another crossing influence. I love it. I can't make it up. We got the sun and the moon, all right? This is about balance. If you want this, all right, if you want this happiness and this joy and this sense of freedom and liberation and just throwing off all the heaviness of the past and returning to that like beginner's mind, you know, I see that child on that horse and it makes me think of, you know, first of all, horse medicine is all about power and movement, okay? And right now, your power and your swift movement forward relies on you returning to that place of like beginner's mind, remember when you were a child, you didn't have set opinions of things. You were very open-minded. You were discovering the world, and you're being asked to reinvigorate a little bit of that spirit within yourself, to look at the world with eyes of wonder like a child does, right? Everything's a brand new discovery. And maybe you have been focusing, more on this heaviness. I see this as like a veil, it's reminding me of like a veil of illusion. And maybe this is what you've been holding on to. This is what you've been focused on. But remember, when Persephone did that deep dive into Hades zone, she had to really shed her illusions, all right? Shed those veils of illusion. It reminds me of the dance of the seven veils of illusion, and you're being asked to cast this off. You're being asked to look at things as they are and to accept them as they are. And you don't have to like the way things are right now. That's okay. Sometimes when we are facing towers and when we are having our illusions disrupted, it can feel very destabilizing, right? But the more that you can see things as they are, the more that you are willing to have the shadow illuminated, not only in situations around you, people around you, things and people you've been invested in, but also your own personal shadow aspects that maybe you're ignorant about, that you aren't seeing clearly because you're projecting the energy so much outside of yourself. This is about you returning to a place of innocence within yourself where you are willing to learn. And if you allow yourself to be teachable this week and you cast off this shadow, and that can come through many different forms, and for some reason it's coming off as like making another wrong, okay? This seems to be coming forward very strongly right now for some reason, making another wrong, all right? There's something about this where it's about understanding that, all of us kind of act from this young mind as well, that there's so many of us walking around with this like wounded, inner child, this very young part of our psychology that still is trying to get its needs met in the old ways that don't work once you're grown, okay? And so it's about having a little bit of that compassion for, people's struggle and what they're working through, and understanding again that the end goal is that we all grow. The end goal is that we all make it, okay? So there's something about really returning to this place of innocence. There's something about looking at maybe your adversary, the person on the other side of the table that you've labeled as your enemy. And there's something about really challenging yourself this week as well to look for the light in that person. Can you look for the light in that person? Can you think of something about that person, no matter how challenging it may be, that is beautiful, that is a gift, that contributes something of value? Now, in some cases where you're dealing with heavy, heavy trauma, I understand that may be next to impossible, okay? So in that case, can the focus shift to this person instead of being mindful of things like revenge, okay, or aggression? Can the energy be put toward this person having the support that's needed to learn their lessons, to transmute the energy, to heal and evolve beyond this current place of being that is causing so much pain or contributing to so much harm or negativity? And it was 33:33 on the clock when I said that. We're not being asked to whitewash or ignore or disregard the injustices or the atrocities in the world. We are not being asked to justify poor behavior, hurtful behavior, harmful behavior, abusive behavior. But what we are being asked to do is hold a higher consciousness around it, where instead of holding an intention that is desirous of exacting revenge, or getting even or seeing somebody else suffer, collectively we shift that intention that what is needed for that person to integrate their lessons, to balance their karma, to heal, and to move beyond this is what we wish to come forward. It's very essential at this time that we're mindful of what we're wishing for, because our wishes and the things that we're speaking into existence have a certain weight. They have a certain form of formidability, a certain power, and a certain activation at this time where our manifestations are in the process of preparing to come into fruition more rapidly, which means even when we are acting out of our shadow nature, even when we are perhaps taking a stance that we feel justified in because we've been wounded in some way, that we need to be mindful that there's also a price to pay for that. Nobody escapes accountability for what they speak into existence. So again, this is about being mindful of how you're showing up. But what you can't see right now, collective, is that you are right now in this process of shedding this final layer of illusion so you can step into that light. And what you can't see now is that what began as one seed in the creation of your field of dreams is going to grow plentifully and will be quite a harvest for you this fall. All right. When that eclipse cycle is ended on October 14th, you're going to look at your life and you're going to see how much you've grown if you can align yourself with the energy in a way that actually supports that growth. As long as you continue to align your energy on the lower vibrational scale, you're going to be held back. All right. So this is about understanding that there is duality in our world. There is duality in nature. There is no way to escape this. There are two sides of one coin. But what you do get to choose is where you're going to focus your awareness, your intention, and what you're going to build. And what came forward in the recent download I did on the Great Attractor, if you haven't checked it out, I hope you'll check it out. My apologies for the video quality on that. I'm trying this out, doing this on my streaming software. Again, I've tried on YouTube to do streaming. Lately, the streaming has been really off. And I feel that's because there is a lot of blocking energy out in the collective. I'm getting sentience right now. You have to understand that with the age of Kali Yuga, everything's coming to a head. That means lies are being exposed. What is false is being torn down. And as this happens, there is a greater resurgence of the dark energy that wants to keep you in ignorance, that wants to keep you held back, that wants to keep you stuck, that doesn't want you to progress. So I feel that's why a lot of readers, I've seen it a lot on YouTube, a lot of readers are encountering blockages, difficulties with their lives. So I am trying this out today, doing my streaming software, but if it's a problem, I may for a while have to just, record my videos and upload them. I would rather not, but I don't want the messages to get through garbled. That's very important to me. Another thing that came through that Great Attractor message download was the reality that the dark matter in the multiverse, the dark energy, is actually increasing at this time. And that is repelling things, okay? It's having a repelling instead of a magnetizing effect. So as usual, we're operating within this sort of push-pull dynamic. Now, we need to stay out of that push-pull dynamic and instead stay very centered in our own position and focus on building that energy that magnetizes the light at this time, so these energies can be brought into balance. Right now, it's out of balance, okay? The darker energy is prevailing right now. I'm not just talking, woo-woo here. This is on a very practical, scientific level. That's a fact. The dark energy is prevailing and is growing right now. And it's being reflected in us, in our earthly experience, okay? In order to build the light, you need to own your part. and you need to build it consciously, all right? Build it consciously and invest your energy in that way. Now, that was something I hypothesized in that great attractor download that's all about making our contribution to the cosmic web of creation and how that plays out in our everyday life, right? But I think it's an experiment that would be wise for all of us to invest in and become conscious creators in our own lives and fuse our energy together in this way that we can build a momentum and maybe we can balance those scales, okay? Because those who want to completely eradicate the shadow, that's never going to be possible because that is not even how nature functions. And we are a direct reflection of nature. We are. For every night, there's a day, okay? We have the sun, we have the moon, both sources of light. Now, that's something significant to remember. The light is always there, even when the shadow is prevailing, okay? And it's up to you to tap into that energy and keep building that light. That's the work to be done. All right, so yeah, look at this. This is what brings the healing. This is what brings the celebration with the Three of Cups, all right? But right now we are being weighed up, you know, at the crossroads. We are in that place collectively of karmic balance. And isn't it interesting? I love these cards, just the contrast between the darkness and the light. Look at the head illuminated. That gives you a key into how you can call in the light in your life and see your visions manifest. Notice, he's not resisting. He's not fighting. He's just hanging out there. He's taken his hands off of it. He's let go. He's having to get a new view of his life, of his experience, okay? And he ain't going anywhere for a while. So as long as he's going to be in this predicament, he may as well focus on some illumination, all right? Big earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. I feel like this is also speaking of the Taurus North Node that's in play right now, which is asking all of us to pay our debts, okay? Pay our karmic debts, pay them in full. It's about understanding what's of true value, what's of true worth, what's of true meaning for us independently in our lives. And collectively, as a whole, it's about putting our focus and our intention there. Maybe some of you have been more focused on materialism. You've been more focused on material gain. Maybe you've been trying to amass things, and this is where you've put your value, you know. Money is the only thing that matters, or having that nice car is the only thing that matters, you know. Maybe you've gotten a little caught up in the whole capitalistic sway, all right? This is something maybe collectively that we need to look at and start thinking about what has deeper value, what has deeper meaning, where can we really invest our focus and our desires in a different way. And this is coming in. Look, man, this way is coming to an end. We got the tower here, all right? So there is a lightning bolt that's going to strike. And remember, also, in order for you to step into that Taurus North Node, which is what we're all collectively working on right now, we're trying to rise up out of that Scorpio South Node into the Taurus North Node. That requires us, okay, to understand that sometimes when we rise, another falls. And that is also a balancing of the scales. Somebody is going to experience your come up as a tower, all right? But this is just the way it is, all right? There's an ending that needs to take place here. Big Scorpio energy, all right? Again, death rising up out of that South Node into that North Node of destiny, where we see the manifestation of our dreams and our visions, because we finally understand what's of true value. And we finally understand what is a worthwhile pursuit and investment of our energy. And we are willing to stand on it, act on it, and live from that place. And as soon as we do that, look, all the work pays off. All the work we did comes forward. All right? There's finally movement forward. We're given an Ace of Cups, an inspiration to finally feel some fulfillment in the way that we're moving forward. Or we can rob ourselves. we can rob ourselves and we can stay stuck where we just think more from an I standpoint. What can I get? How can I get what I need? And looking at what other people have and comparing it to what you got and wondering why they have so much and you have so little, all right? Again, a lot of checks and balances, energy coming in here, 44, 44 on the clock. And you can, you can stay in this 5 of swords, 7 of swords energy as long as you want, but you're only betraying yourself. You're only ripping yourself off of what wants to come in for you, right? Again, you need a new view with the 2 of wands. This is about really thinking about the kind of reality you want to create for yourself. And if you've been coming up against nothing but blockages, it's time for you to understand there's a better way to do things. All right, Spirit, if the collective does start to really have these checks and balances in their own life, do this internal inventory, work with the exercises you've given us, and we start really taking accountability in this way, what wants to come in for the collective? What's wanting to come in for the collective? Give us a clear view about what's actually wanting to come in for the collective. And if you've been with me that long, give a thumbs up. We got the Temperance Angel. I mean, what a beautiful message to come in. Upright. I love the way it came in. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can flip this down so you can actually see. Okay. Here's all the cards here. All right. And then here's this Temperance Angel. This is the way it landed, sort of like presiding over everything here. All right. So, beautiful, beautiful energy to come in. Beautiful energy to come in there. This is about balancing it out, right? This is about finding the balance. This is about that karmic balance, all right? It's also about doing your purification work, all right? And being willing to learn from that purification work. Understanding that you can't just stay stuck, in the watery energies, that you also have to be grounded in reality, okay? You can't just stay focused 100% on like integrating all this subconscious, heavy terrain of that Scorpio South Node. You also have to remember that, the work is to be done in your material reality. You can't just stay stuck in these murky depths, processing, regretting, feeling all these emotions. It's like, yes, it's very important to acknowledge what you feel. It's very important to allow yourself to do this deep dive into those energies so that you can integrate, heal. But you can't forget this piece that, I just got chopped wood, carry water. Like, you have to do the work in material reality. You have to show up and take actions that reflect this emotional work you've been doing and everything you've learned from that, or else, you will continue to manifest your life from a very unconscious place. You will continue to manifest from your wounding, and that doesn't allow you to have progression. You'll continually create blockages for yourself. Any other clarification on this, Spirit, that you want to give before I jump into kind of an overarching theme for the collective here? Any other confirmation you want to give? Ooh, we got some crossing influence here. Okay, so the crossing influences, yeah, it's the choice that it keeps getting echoed week after week after week. Are you going to choose to invest in your growth even though you can't see the harvest yet, simply for the sake of doing the work because it's what you're called to do? It's what your spirit is calling you to do. Are you going to invest in growth, or are you going to take the easy way? And if you take the easy way, it leads to this. It leads to disappointment. It's your choice. You're either going to choose growth or you're going to choose disappointment. So this is very important to look at because we have this message that came in about, it's somebody else's tower. Well, sometimes things look negative on the surface, but they actually end up being cause for celebration down the road. Remember, Not all is as it seems. And once we're out of this eclipse season, things will be looked at in a much different way. You'll have a much different perspective. So what may appear as a loss right now, and if you find yourself on the receiving end of this, like somebody's walking away from you, or you're missing an opportunity and you're feeling a lot of remorse, regret, a sense of loss around that, please remember that you can focus on this, okay? Ooh, there was just lightning outside. So I think that's a big sign. It's like this tower is going to fall no matter what, all right? You can let the tower level you, or you can let the tower blow your mind and electrify you. And you're meant thunder. There's a storm brewing, collective, okay? And it's coming in to like clear the air. It's coming in to wash things clean. It's coming in for purification, okay? And what you have to remember is no matter what's lost at this time, it leads to a beautiful alignment and new beginning in your life. And you'll see that come fall, right? So this is about deferring instant gratification and doing the work for the sake of the work and investing in your growth, and it will be rewarded. Let's go ahead and do, let's do clarification with this deck. Yeah, look at this. Bottom of the deck, energy. We got the cats, okay? Cat medicine is all about secrets, okay? There's a lot going on behind the scenes, all right? There's a lot that's going on behind the scenes. And you notice this can of wet food here that's open. None of these cats are touching it. This is very significant because I feel like there's this ruse energy that's very front and center in the collective right now as well. It's like some things look tantalizing. Some things look appealing. You may think it would be a real treat if you got your way, if things went the way you think they should, but you might find that it's not all it's cracked up to be. So whatever, you miss out on at this time that you see somebody else, getting rewarded with, you never know the way that life balances the scales. I mean, that may be just desserts, okay? Sometimes it looks like someone's winning when it's actually part of their lesson. And the more that we can get out of these mindsets too about competitiveness, somebody's a winner and somebody's a loser, and understanding that at the end of the day, we're all on the outer egoic, demonstrations of, their side, my side, us versus them. I'm talking about in a real, like, if you look at things metaphysically from a higher set of, higher set of eyes, like a more broad view of it's all one energy. And really there can't be harmony, there can't be peace, there can't be healing in the world until we all really shift our consciousness team oriented instead of just totally thinking about what's in it for us, right? So there's something here that you can't see. There are a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and it may feel at times like you're getting the, the shit end of the stick, when in actuality, certain influences in your life are being marked for you, so you know what you need to move away from. It's like moving away from these energies actually opens up things for you and gets you moving forward very rapidly, you can't see it right now. You're not moving into this expansion. You're feeling really lost with the spaceship here in reverse. And it's because, you're not letting spirit take the wheel. You'd blast off in a hot second if you really let go and let spirit take the wheel with that 34/7 energy there, all right? As soon as you release control, as soon as you trust, as soon as you accept whatever's rocking and rolling through your life as working for your benefit, and be grateful for what's changing in your life, and view it as maybe this is actually a good thing because this needed to fall, or this needed to come undone, or this person and I needed to separate from each other, or I need to let this go, even though I can't see this right now. Obviously, it's false. It's not in alignment with me. And the more that I spend my time here investing this, pouring my energy into it, it only keeps what's meant for me away from me. All right. So just see if you can shift your perspective a little bit. Any overarching theme for the collective that you want to leave them with, Spirit? Any overarching theme for the collective that you want to leave them with, Spirit? Any overarching theme for the collective that you want to leave them with, Spirit, for this week? Spirit's kind of like making fun of us a little bit, you know? Spirit's like, are you chicken? Are you chicken? You know? Look at, you're making it so hard on yourself. You're trying to drag this bus behind you. You can drag this behind you as long as you want. You know what this bus is really signifying to me? It's signifying the lesson. It's like you're being schooled. And as long as you want to stay in this place of doing the hard way, you know, going the hard way, thinking that, you know, you have to, you know, force your way on, you know, the situation, you're going to continue to be in this place where you're really divided and you can't make a choice between your head or your heart. You're not coming into that bridging point, which here I love. It's the lungs. You know, the lungs are all about our ability to take in that life force energy, that prana. To breathe in, also the archaic meaning of breath is to inspire, okay? So you're meant to be inspired at this time. You're not meant to go about things in such a way where you're having to work so hard and it's a constant struggle and it takes nothing but unending effort. You have to move beyond your fear, okay? Because when I think of chicken and I think of a car, you know, in middle of the road there, you know, or in this case, a bus, you know, it makes me think of, you know, when people, you know, play chicken, which is a very stupid thing to do, all right? But maybe a lot of the collective is moving in a stupid way and they need to get a different perspective of things. If you're in a battle of egos, like who's tougher, you know, who's going to get there first, you know, if you're in this like very competitive mindset or you're in a tit for tat mentality, you're like two buses coming toward each other. Eventually, like what, who wins? The person who finally gets a brain and veers off to the side, but do they really win? You know, likely they're going to end up in a car wreck. Okay. You know, so this is really about being mindful of, you know, at what cost for your ego gratification. All right. And maybe you're doing things the hard way. If a way is meant for you, the road rises up to meet you. You don't have to force a fit, okay? So if you just, you know, allow yourself to kind of push through your fears of FOMO, you know, if you have this fear of missing out, if you move through your fears of FOMO and you say, okay, I trust you to show me the way, Spirit. Maybe experiment with that this week. All right, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I don't have a clue. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I have no idea. You show me what I need to do and I'll follow your guidance. I'll feel it out and I'll trust what you bring forward. You might find the way going a lot easier, okay? But as long as you're trying to make these compromising agreements with the handshake to the zombies, with these things from the past that you keep holding space for, and all they're doing is dumbing you down. They're just feeding off your brains. And then you wonder, why do I end up in this same place again, like buried by this thing where I'm having to like claw my way back to life again? You know, can you accept that maybe it's okay to be on your own for a while and do your own thing and just trust in these endings that are taking place? For a lot of you, it's around relationships. Or some of you are taking very unconventional risks in terms of what you're creating for yourself. You're taking unconventional risks in terms of your business. You're going your own way. Everybody thinks you're a fool, but you know, you're being true to yourself and you're standing on it. You know, this character, they look pretty pleased. They look pretty content with themselves, right? And again, they also look relaxed. Okay, so there's something about this. Just chill out, man, and trust what's coming to a close. And you know, just wish the best for those who are struggling with your decisions and what you're stepping into, okay? It's kind of the deck energy here. Yep. But there is some karma to pay. And some of you are going through karmic cleanup work, and there's no avoiding this, okay, until it's all paid off. Once it's paid off, then your wish will come into view, all right? But all of us in some way, we have some karmic cleanup work to do. It may be your chores are within. It may be your chores are without, and you need to make things right with someone. It was 59:11 on the clock when I said that, right? It's like, it's emergency time, right? There's no putting this off any longer. You can either do it willingly, or it can happen in a way that you ain't gonna like the way that plays out. So be mindful of how you move forward this week and get on board to the fast track to what's best for all of us, not just you.